Hello, my name is Sean Ennis from Ennis Management, and thank you for joining me here on the Creative Collective. And today I'm joined by a very special guest. He's a songwriter, recording artist, and producer from Jersey City, New Jersey, Pedro Ramon.
Hello, everyone.
Now, what made you decide to use your government name as your stage name?
It was real simple. I couldn't think of anything that had to do with my style of rap that would be cool, honestly. So when I said, what should I call myself? No one gave me a nickname, and I thought it was kind of whack to give yourself one, so I just went with my government.
And, when people use a stage name, for a lot of artists, it allows them to put on a persona or kind of become a character. With you using your real name, does that sort of have an effect on the type of music that you create and you produce?
Definitely. People have said, you really spitting some real stuff there, and using my name, that's really my name. I think it just relates and coincides together just great, because a lot of the stuff I rap about is real stuff I'm going through. When I am like maybe in character or going with a theme, that's how I would probably talk to you about that theme in person. So it's not me really having to dig too deep. It's more like having a conversation with the listeners.
Now, talk to me about the music scene in New Jersey.
Oh man, I actually right after high school I joined the military. Man, I did 8 years, 2 tours to Afghanistan. Ended up with some PTSD and other stuff, but I didn't get to actually experience the Jersey scene a little too much as far as when I was ready to go all in and rap. My experience was, sitting in the staircase and, banging on the wall, making a beat, doing ciphers, because that was the culture, growing up. The culture was, everyone should freestyle, see who has the dopest bars in the moment, just whatever can get anybody excited.
And what music or artists have influenced you?
A lot of my influence, I would definitely say, has to be anyone that's doing any type of conscious rap, the J. Cole's, definitely Eminem. Those are like my top 2 guys because of, what they did for me with their lyrics. A lot of the stuff they share, it actually meant a lot to me because I can relate, J. Cole, I lived in Fayetteville, stationed in Fort Bragg when he was dancing as a kangaroo at the skating rink. Eminem, when he was in the trailer and he was rapping about everything going on with Kim, I was going through a horrible breakup. So it was kind of like, I was like, man, you guys know what I'm going through right now, because in the military, everyone thinks it's sweet and dandy, but man, when I was in Bragg, I'm just this little private, not making that much money. I kind of messed up, so I'm not in the best situation. So when I heard that this guy who's just making the best of his situation, which wasn't the best, J. Cole, dancing as a kangaroo while he's just handing out music, I'm like, man, I really love what these guys are going through, and then how they're just relaying it in their music. I was just so excited. So they're my main inspiration right now.
And being that you initially got your start freestyling and participating in music ciphers, what made you want to make that transition to writing original songs and recording and releasing music and become an artist?
A lot of the freestyle battles that were online, there were a lot of DVDs coming out where, you saw freestyle battles, and then there were also, little videos that you got online that you can see when the internet was starting to pop off in the 90s. So what I did is I realized that a lot of those guys were writing, because I was like, man, there's no way, because I stood in ciphers. I know when someone would write, we catch it, we know. So what I did was I realized that, these guys are going into these battles, stepping in with writtens, and then they're murdering the other guy. So I was like, I don't see anything wrong with it if it's freaking televised, I could do that. So I started writing, I would go into my ciphers with writtens, and it motivated other people to do it. So now everyone just started who could be the best writer. So it was like it was just an interesting transition based off of what I was seeing.
And how do you feel that writing for ciphers and battles, how do you feel like that helped you in terms of your songwriting?
Well, it really helped me because it made me realize that a lot of the music I do listen to was on the radio. And those guys aren't freestyling. They're writing their stuff. So I was like, this is definitely one thing I want to do. That's the dream. I would love my music to be on a syndicated radio station. You know, that would be everything, because then what it would do was it would let me know that I'm good enough, but it will also let people hear what I have to say, because I always felt like, man, I hear what they have to say. I got something to say too, you know? That's how I felt always as an artist, when I would hear other artists, that I love what they're saying and I love what they're doing, but, you know, I feel like, hey, I can also, you know, give or provide as well.
Now, what genre of music do you consider your work to be, and how would you describe your music?
Definitely hip-hop is my genre. My style of music, right now the easiest way to explain it would be conscious rap. Because I always say I'm a versatile. For me, my simple explanation would be I'm versatile. I spit real stuff that I'm going through, and then I want to encourage, uplift, motivate, inspire, because I feel like, yeah, we're all going to go through stuff. So I can either sit here and complain, or I can tell you how I'm getting through it. And I always felt that was the way I should. And conscious rappers, that's what they do all the time. So I felt like, yep, that's the one I can relate to. That's the bracket I'll fall under for sure.
And now, when you say conscious rap, so how important is having a positive message in your music?
Well, my name's on it, my government, so it's pretty important, because I want people to know that, hey, what is this guy talking about? And what I'm going to be talking about is going to be something that I can even talk to them one-on-one about. I feel like my music has to be something that if you didn't hear me spitting it in a verse, you'd be able to sit down with me, and across from each other we could have this conversation, and these are similar words or similar themes that we can just talk about.
And what are some of the main themes or topics of your songs?
All right. Well, it's definitely a lot of the pain that I'm going through. Growing up poor was hard. It wasn't easy, especially because you're faced with the things of why are we poor? Because if, like, my mom, she was working her ass off, and she was working 2-3 jobs, my dad working his ass off 2-3 jobs, that'd be easy to just say, hey, you know what? They're working hard to make ends meet, and they're just not getting to where they want. It wasn't like that. It was very simple. I had, a father who was a heroin addict. My mom, she dabbled in different things. So they didn't really hold us down like they should have. And it's not me bashing them, but it's just my reality. My reality is my parents put us in situations where they couldn't hold an apartment down because, they wanted something else other than keeping the job. And I love my mom to death. She's still alive. My dad passed away when I was 17. So, Mom, if you're listening, I forgive you. I forgot it already. But you know what? I'm just being real with you. It's pain that I feel. I'm expressing it in my music. She's okay with it. This is hard conversations we've had. So, a lot of it has to do with that. A lot of the anger that comes out is because of the PTSD that I got, from being in the military, deploying to Afghanistan. So a lot of the anger is, having guys that, I got a whole, full relationship with, and, now they know my life story, and then we got so close, became brothers even, just for them to die, or get killed. So it was just hard, so it made me angry, it made me bitter, but it also made me realize that, them leaving as early as they did, it makes me motivated to say, I don't know why I made it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to not only live for me, but I'm going to live for them. So I took that, I take that anger, I take that pain and those emotions, and instead of just complaining, I use it to say, hey, this is what I'm going through, but I'm gonna show you that life goes on. And not only does it go on, it gets better.
And I think that's one of the most powerful things about music is that as artists, you have the ability to take traumatic, hurtful, impactful moments of your life that may be negative and turn it into this art that you then release to people that can connect with other people, and you get to turn a negative into a positive.
Exactly, man. That music, I feel like music is always supposed to be able to give you those chills or that chicken skin or those goosebumps, whatever you want to call it, what have you, because any song, someone can relate to it in some kind of way, and I always feel like that it's easier for my music to be related to because I'm just gonna always tell you by experience what I went through, and also I'm gonna share with you, like I said, that it gets better and life goes on, and there's positivity, there's optimism to be had in life, because I'm telling you, it gets dark, but the light's still shining every single day.
Now I want to talk about your EP that you released titled Cartoons. Can you take me through the creative process, and also what are some of the themes and topics of the songs on this EP?
Definitely. So, Cartoons, that it was fun to come up with the name because I was reminded of, when I first started rapping, the freestyling, the writtens, and doing the ciphers. Everybody grew up and, went their separate ways. So my time as an adult started to be in the car. So I was like, well, let me have something to do with the car in the title. And the 3 tracks on there, the first one is called Buy Me, like purchase me. And what I did with that one is I wanted people to, like, with that track, it's like, look, when you listen to this, you're purchasing me. Like you're getting like you're actually getting an exchange. Like when you listen to it, you're listening to me. Like this is what I went through. This is what I'm going through. Like on the hook, I explain, very simply that I don't feel like you really understand pain unless you want to die every single day. And that's what I felt like. I felt like, a moment in my life that I didn't even want to live anymore. So I put in the hook, you don't know pain until you feel like quitting every day. So, it's a pain that people can't see, because in Jersey, it was simple, man. Like, you had to be tough. You could break your leg. Hey, don't cry. We'll take you to the hospital. Walk on the other leg, And then the internal stuff, which you definitely can't see, you could never talk about. And then if people did, man, I tell you what, it was so easy to be branded, any kind of word. I don't want to use them. You know where I'm going at. But anyway, what I did with that song is I shared that pain. But then in the verses and the rest of the song, I shared that I got through it. I made it. I didn't actually take my life, or I didn't actually get to the point where I stopped taking care of myself, and then now I'm not around. And then the next song I called Fulfill, and I spelled it interesting. I put Full in the beginning of it, because what I wanted to say was, fulfill, like, fulfilling your destiny. But what I wanted to do was have a play on the words. Getting your full fill, like getting a full fill of life, like your full fill of your food, like, eat until you're full, that kind of thing. So what I wanted to do was just have a nice theme to a song where, hey, I know that life gets tough and you're going through some things, but you still got to get your full fill out of it. There's still more that you can get, and you're not full until you're gone. So get full. And then on the last one, I called it You, because I went into the studio, man, and I was blown away, man. I went to this home studio in Hawaii. Shout out to Bobby, my engineer. This guy, he has this ability to just sit there and produce music and just engineer it in such a way where you're like, is this guy even working? Because it just looks like it's so second nature to him. And I'm sure there are a lot of guys out there, but it was my first experience seeing that. So we had a little listening session, and he's like, hey man, I got some tracks, we can have you listen. So I listened to his tracks, and this one already had vocals on it from one of the vocalists that works in the studio, and I just fell in love. And it was talking about, hey, you know what? You're having success now. You're having your version of success, whatever that is, getting a car, getting money, whatever your version of success is, you're having it. So now, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say in my verses that now maintain that. And how can you maintain it? What can I do to help? What can I say to motivate you to maintain it? Because I wasn't just talking to, myself and sharing my moments, but I wanted to let you know that I can dig deep and say, you know what, I can even almost be a life coach. Not that I'm saying I am or branding myself that way, but I always felt that if I could just share with you, hey, you know what, you got something there, don't lose it. Keep it. This is how.
Now, can you briefly describe your music making process?
So what I do is I like to be alone only because I can sometimes get distracted because people around me when I'm writing, maybe I'm spitting something I'm writing, and nothing against support or help on your verses or your music, but sometimes I feel like my message can get skewed, or it can now be switched to, oh well, I heard that feedback, so now let me make it sound like this. And I want my music to be as pure me as possible, so gotta be alone, gotta have the music either really loud in headphones or really loud in the house or wherever I'm at in the studio, and then have a bottle of water, cup of water, glass of water, what have you. As long as I got water, I'm alone, the music's on blast, I can focus, I can write, and then it goes from there.
And then when it comes to time to record in the studio, what's your process like?
Oh yeah, I started out, really like any other artist. I pull my phone out and read, and then I realized, because the engineer at the time, shout out to Jules, he's over at Blue Planet Studio in Hawaii. He was like making a comment. He's like, your rap is really sounding like you're reading it. And then that really just kind of like hurt my feelings, but in a good way. So what I do now is I make sure I won't step up to that mic unless I know my words all the way. And a lot of rappers say that, hey, you need to go into that studio ready. I hate when rappers pull out their words. And yeah, I could have felt some type of way and kept doing it, but I was like, no, let me listen to these guys. So I humbled myself, and from now on, when I get in front of that mic, I know my lyrics. I'm not going to read them, not anymore.
And did you notice a difference or improvement when you went in with your lyrics fully memorized?
Oh yeah. I mean, the little inflections on certain words, because you put emotions on them, differently than when you're just reading them. And when you know them, you can with me, my main thing is I want people to understand what I'm saying, and I know that's something that M went through. He had said in an interview that Kid Rock told him, dude, you're awesome, but I can't understand what you're saying. So that definitely was like confirmation for me, for sure.
Now, what's your ultimate direction for your music career or your music career goals? I'm not in any rush. I've learned from this experience to be patient, enjoy the process as I go, because I am. Music is my therapy, so my main goals would have to be, keeping at it and not stopping, but then, of course, I want to get played on the syndicated radio station. I want my music videos to be on those, those channels, and I want to perform in the big venues. That's the dream right there. Now, can you talk about the experience of creating, recording, and releasing really personal music?
Yeah. First, it started with a lot of, hey, can I get some feedback on this? I did that all the time. All the time, I'd write something, I'd spit it for someone, I'd ask for feedback. And what I would do was I would notice that there were certain topics that they would notice, like, hey, you know what? I really felt that one. Like, that one gave me chills. And what I would do was I'd focus my music on those topics. I focus my music on the topics that gave people chills. And I wouldn't change my music for them, but I would focus on that. And then as far as, going to now the releasing, I've learned, just to school everyone that, you want to own your music. You want to own it all. You want to make sure no one can, steal it. So, I learned to be cautious about that. But I also learned that there's levels to this. So if you're just starting out, you can have a poor man's copyright, as they said, from just you releasing it on your social media, on your account, and that can be good enough, and then as you get bigger and you grow, you want to make sure, you go to the Library of Congress, you get the copyrights, you want to make sure that, that if you had any splits with anyone, that they got the proper royalty percentages and so on and so forth. And just understanding all of that, really makes me smarter now as an artist. So what I'll do is after I get the creative side knocked out, I can easily switch over to the business side now, and then also onto the marketing side, with a lot more knowledge, and a lot more prioritization on what I should be doing.
Now, what are the joys and challenges of songwriting?
Oh man, I love writing my music. It's therapy, man, because a lot of the pain and the anger and what have you, it's hard for me personally to sit here and deal with it, man. Like sometimes if I'm not sitting here writing my music, I got to call someone. Like there's a few select people, they know who they are, that I call, and sometimes I got to vent or I got to cry or what have you, and it's because, I just can't handle it sometimes, and I think a lot of it has to do with what happened with me, deploying to Afghanistan, and, I got PTSD now and, chronic pain, so, it isn't easy always for me to deal with shit on my own, so I have to get to those people that are a little stronger than me to kind of get me grounded, but if they're not around, I default to the music most of the time, so it's pretty selfish for me to just, it sounds, I may not be selfish, but I just jump right into the music because that's a therapeutic and that's what gets me through, man. And yeah, I have these big goals, but right now, music is what's keeping me alive.
Now, do you believe it's important to study older music, and if so, why?
Yes, very, very important, because you want to know and understand just the evolution of hip hop, man. I take it as far back as jazz. Like I could still to this day walk into a jazz club and I will be enjoying myself. I will be excited because I understand jazz because I sat there and read that, hey, those guys are freestyling. The saxophone guy, he just took over and he's freestyling. He just did a solo. Oh, look, the pianist, he took over. He's doing his thing. Oh, look, the vocalist is doing this. And I realized that, hey, that's where hip-hop probably got its ciphers from. Because jazz would sit there live and they'd sit there and perform like that. So, I'd listen to the greats. I'd listen to one of my favorite jazz artists is Duke Ellington. So I think that if you guys don't know who that is or anything about jazz, you should really study it because a lot of hip hop derives from it. And if you didn't know that and you didn't understand that, you're gonna probably make some stumbles along the way that you could have avoided by studying. And then it goes to where rap went. I think what was the guy's? His name was my uncle's gonna be so mad at me if he heard this, but. The first rapper, he had meat in his name, I think it was. Anyway, so he, those guys that started rap and the beef between Kumo D and Busy B and stuff like that. Knowing that stuff just helps you understand that if musically the sound of rap, what you're doing, if you didn't know where it came from, then you could easily make something that the market's gonna tell you, yeah, that's whack, or we're not feeling that. And what I really like is a lot of the new age music that comes out. I feel like these guys just understand that, you know what, we can't really do anything too different. I mean, rap is kind of like the way it is. So a lot of these guys that are coming out that people are hating on, man, I'm not hating on them at all. A lot of these, you call them mumble rap or whatever else. Man, I am a huge fan, and I'll say that right now with pride, only because that's what you're supposed to be doing with music. You got to be creating and making something original, making a sound or stringing words in a way that nobody's done it yet. And with rap, so many creative ways have been done with it. So, not that I'm going to take off and go that way, but, I think I have my own version of rap, the way with my cadence and the way I switch it up and my stories, that's always going to stay true to, hip hop. So I would say, that there it is. That's my opinion on that. Yeah.
Now, what's one piece of advice that you could give to an aspiring musician or a musician who's just starting out in their music career?
Definitely make sure it's something you want to do. Make sure that, you really, really want to pursue this, because it's going to get hard. It's going to get difficult. You're gonna experience some pain, some stress along the way, and it's pain and stress that you can't handle unless you love what you're doing, unless your why outweighs, whatever's going on.
Can you share your social media links?
Okay, yeah. Instagram is I am Pedro Ramon. Twitter is I am Pedro Ramon. Facebook is Pedro Ramon. YouTube is Pedro Ramon, and Snapchat is I am Pedro Ramon. Those are all the social medias right there. I post daily. I release music on it. I put out messages. I share about my life and my journey. Definitely check me out, man. I don't think you'd be disappointed.
Now, is there anyone you'd like to acknowledge for offering you financial or maybe emotional support to you during your music career?
Yeah, let's see. I mean, there's quite a few, but the main ones I would have to say are, there's this one guy in particular. His name is Nate Michaels. He lives in Hawaii. I was stationed out there. Now, I always knew that, I could write, I could string some words together. But this guy's actually worked with some big names. I don't know them all, but he's worked with some guys, and I wanted his 2 cents. I was like, look, man, I'm a rap for you. You tell me straight up, is it whack? Should I stop, or I actually have something? And I rapped for him, and I just put it all on the line, man. I acted as if I had a full stage, and he was like, dude, you have something. Keep going. And this was someone that I'm like, he's seen greats. So I was like, all right. So Nate, thank you for that. You encouraged me. The next guy, I was in Afghanistan the first time. Around the time, it was the anniversary of my dad's death. I was feeling kind of down. Guy I was serving with, his name's Thomas Shote. He was really just trying to help me get out of that dark place, because he saw, my work wasn't really falling off as much as probably it could have. Like, I was still finding little ways to stay motivated, do what I had to, but he could see I was off. So what he did was he was like, all right, man, I want you to write down everything. I want you to write all that stuff down. And I'm thinking I'm just gonna write down my emotions and just put it all out and vent to myself, maybe in a journal. But it really reinvigorated the rap again, and I thank him for that, because I kind of turned it off when I joined the Army. So he turned it back on for me, and I thanked him the other day for it too. So definitely I want him to know that. And then definitely the main ones are definitely all of my family. All of my family have been supportive since day one that I said I was going to do this. I don't want to name them. I'm from a Hispanic family. We have a huge family. But they know where they are. Maybe I'll name a few. Junior, Pedro, Sergio Vasquez, that's my uncle. He gave me free studio time when I really, really needed it. My aunt, Jacinia Vasquez, she's there for me in the moments where I need to cuss at someone. and she'll let me cuss at her. And I know it sounds so weird, but she really will be a punching bag with words for me because of the PTSD, because she knows what I'm going through. So right there, man, I'm just so thankful for them. Without that support system, I don't know if I'd even be doing this anymore. I'd probably just be, doing whatever job I could find.
Is there anything else you'd like to promote or share?
Well, I definitely am interested in any producers out there that, if listen to my stuff, if you think I got something, that, would sound dope on one of your beats, be real. I'll be real with you. Stop asking me to buy your beats. If you think we got something, then why don't you just offer me the beat? I'll rap on it. We'll release it, and we'll do the whole thing. You know what I mean? If you really want to work with me, work with me. But if not, then just know that I'm going to do my best to provide value for you. If I think you're a dope producer, then I'm just going to put the word out. I'm going to let people know about you. When you put your music out, I'm going to comment on your post because I think your beats are dope. Any other rappers, if you guys want to collaborate, let's do it. I'm down. If you guys want me to feature, or if you guys see that I'm working on a project and you want to jump in, let me know. I have an open door policy, in the military, just hit me up in the DM. Let's talk. I really am just really approachable, guys. And I want to meet producers. I want to meet rappers. Let's work. Let's get it.
All right, I would like to give a very big thank you to my guests for joining me today here on the Creative Collective. As always, write your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. And for all of your promotion, marketing, and music career consulting needs, email ennisproductions@gmail.com.